you mentioned the character of war is changing. Yes. We are seeing a war panning out in Europe. That's the only perhaps full-scale war we are seeing in front of us. And there are lessons, there are takeaways for the armies around the world and for Indian Army as well. So if you can just give a peep of what lessons we are drawing, for example, from the Europe war, and how it's going to affect or transform Indian war philosophy going forward, looking ahead.
So in the context of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, I believe there are very profound lessons for us, both or in the strategic domain, at the operational level, as also at the tactical level. But what is important for us is to see their relevance in our context and then move forward. One of the important lessons at the strategic level is I think it has reaffirmed the relevance of hard power. It has shown us that where national interests are involved, countries will not hesitate to go to war. Secondly, I think land will always remain a decisive domain of warfare, especially where there are contested borders, disputed borders, just as in our case. The notion of victory will always remain land-centric. So that is the second important thing. As far as the operations themselves are concerned, it is no longer going to be only the kinetic operations or pure fighting as we know. We already have multi-domain operations. So the importance of cyber, space, electronic warfare, or for that matter, influence operations, I think this is going to gain more salience as we move forward. So we'll have to prepare ourselves, build our capacities, to be able to successfully prosecute operation across these multiple domains that I mentioned, and be also ready to fight across the entire spectrum. It has also shown us that there is a gray zone, so we need to develop our gray zone capabilities. And then there are some lessons in terms of duration. So there was this hypothesis that future wars are going to be short. I think this has proved that is perhaps a misplaced notion. So if the wars are going to be maybe long drawn, then you need to be self-reliant, you need to have your secure supply chains and the rest. And that is where I think this aspect of Atmanirbharta comes in. Besides, there are lessons at the tactical level in terms of a soldier having to be multi-skilled, the aspect of citizen warrior and its importance, small team operations, and relevance of certain combat platforms, let us say armor, artillery, long-range weapons, etc. So these are some of the lessons I think we need to take home.
So you said, taking care of land is integral, remains integral. Two, you said, as we are seeing also in the case of Europe war in Ukraine and in our ongoing standoff in Ladakh, holding for a long time. It's not a short duration war or a standoff. We have to have endurance.
Yes.
So in the context of the ongoing standoff, for example, and of course the Ukraine war, what changes are happening which should make us feel confident that we are taken care of?
So I would say it's a mix of a number of things. And first is modernization and infusion of technology. Because as I mentioned, these days you have disruptive technologies whose potential is limitless. So while there may be legacy systems with us, we need to get a right balance between the weapon systems we already have and what kind of technology or the niche or disruptive technologies we need to bring in. So this balance has got to be right. And second is also we have within our country a very bright, young, constituency of young minds. So we need to see as to how we can leverage this to good advantage. And then to be able to build our own weapon systems, other, warlike materials, equipment, both in terms of what you want to bring them new, as well as the sustenance.
So how much of it is Atmanirbhar as of now, and going forward, how much of it would be Atmanirbhar in terms of being indigenous, say about 2 decades from now?
So I think being self-reliant or being Atmanirbhar, especially in terms of meeting our defense or security requirements, I think nowadays is a strategic imperative. And there are a number of steps that have been taken. I essentially believe that there are four aspects to building a good defense manufacturing ecosystem. And one is, of course, resource allocation. Second is enabling government policies. Third is competitiveness. And fourth is creating the demand.